This is a junk journal that I made with the guidance of a friend of mine in the early part of the pandemic. You might be able to see that it is made with collage, and it has 4 signatures stitched into it here. And here's the back if you would like to see that. A nice quote and a little sheepy. I made this and then I didn't do anything with it for a really, really, really long time. Late last year, I caught the stitch journaling bug. I started slow stitching and I realized that I still had this and I could use it to keep my little stitching projects in. So I thought I would go through it today and show you some of those things, because maybe as you can see here, I've only used about half the signatures, but it's gotten so full I can't close it anymore. And I'm worried about the structural integrity of this thing if I keep adding to it. So I'm going to flip through this and show you what I've got. And then I'm also going to add this one, which I made yesterday, into the book. This, along with several of the others, was made through prompts from K3 and Cloth Tales, who some of you may follow on Instagram or on YouTube. She's doing a weekly stitch along. Anyway, let me open this up and I'll show you what I've been up to. These ribbons are held on with beads here, so again, I don't know how long those are going to last if I keep trying to stuff this thing too full. Here's one of the first things that I made, inspired, I think, just by stuff I saw on Pinterest. The junk journal is made with a lot of old papers, including, I worked for many years as a record critic for the San Francisco Chronicle and others, and so I used a lot of old press releases and press letters. This one's from Glenn at Fukushima at Mercury Records. I don't think he's still there, but you never know. Anyway, we have a scene with a tree and a moon. I like this really shiny fabric. It's semi-translucent, works well for depicting the moon. I seem to be obsessed with the moon. Here's another one. A lot of these fabrics I picked up at Scrap in San Francisco, which is a great resource for all sorts of art supplies. This one is a upholstery velvet with, these were some offcuts from other projects. I just turned them into leaves and made a little garden with the scraps that I had. This one's just more abstract. However, I think this piece and I know this piece were both dyed with a kit that my partner got me a couple of years ago. You can see that same fabric in this piece here. I think I'm close to running out of it now, but yeah, just little bits and pieces. This one was a tea-dyed piece of cotton, possibly linen, I don't know for sure. Inspired by the triple spiral that is really popular in Celtic iconography. I was happy with how even and textural that one turned out. This one's more abstract. Again, some of these, I think they're mostly Japanese cottons I picked up at Scrap in San Francisco. This was the first of the prompts from K3 and Cloth Tales. It was woven strips of fabric and then stitched down. Again, some of these are from Scrap. This one is an old Japanese cotton print. It is corgis crossed with loaves of bread. So you can sort of see the corgi butts and the loaves of bread there. This one was just a little bit of a crossover between junk journaling and slow stitching. Big piece of lace and paper rose that is really chunky and sticks out, which is one of the reasons this book is filling up. This was a super old stitch sampler from a class that I took also at the start of the pandemic with Jenny Lemon's store that used to be located in San Francisco and now I think is only online, but shout out to Jenny Lemons. For some reason she's watching this. This was leftover scraps of linen that, again, I just sort of wove together, and then a little stitchy heart at the bottom. This was, I think, another K3N Cloth Tales prompt, light and dark contrasts. So there's a lighter side here and then a darker side. This was supposed to be a tree, but it looks a little bit more like an arrow. And this was a bit of thread left over from doing some dyeing experiments with avocado, which there might be more of to come. I can't remember. And this was just a scrap piece that I used to clean up some watercolors. So, and this is from one of my favorite fabrics. I made a dress out of this, so I have some scraps that turn up over and over again. Yes, I can't remember if this one is the avocado dyed or from the dye kit that my partner got me, but starting to play with blanket stitch more. And this one was really simple, but I like how it turned out. Also blanket stitch. I joke that I was making this one while I was watching Crimson Peak, so now every time I look at it I think of the movie Crimson Peak, which I recommend if you haven't seen it before. But again, lots more blanket stitch and a little bit of novelty fabric inside with the hedgehog and a bunny and some mushrooms. More blanket stitch. And the first experiments with some honeycomb stitch, which I also really enjoy doing. I kind of love how they look like bacteria or paramecium or something that's growing on a microscopic level. Another one of those, maybe an amoeba of some kind, I don't know. Anyway, this is, again, scraps from scrap, some blanket stitch, and a few other textural details. And another note from somebody at a record company: here's the new Warrant album and bio. This is how old these pieces of paper are. Retail price probably around $12.99. We are distributed through BMG. That is from a time gone by. You can see I used some chocolate wrappers in my junk journal pages. This was another K3N Cloth Tales. It was about choosing strips and embracing the messy. Again, you got more of the corgi butts, some pretty selvage from the rabbit fabric, and a few other things, including this little kitty down here. You'll see a couple more of those as we go through. More bunny fabric, some eggs. I wanted to do a palette of just greens on that particular day. And the page that it's attached to is from Hunt a Killer. You might, if you look sideways, be able to see that some of it is in a cipher code. We did eventually solve the mystery, but it took quite a while. Another K3N prompt. This one was English paper piecing. I can't show you the paper piecing anymore because I stitched this down, but I used a printout of lyrics from I think it was a letter that Hozier sent to his fans before his album came out last year. So there's that. This one was about working with tricky fabrics. I don't know, I have mixed feelings about how this one turned out, but I do like the sort of suggestion of a mountain here with the shape of the fabric. This was my first try at a log cabin. I actually have really enjoyed doing these. I like the pattern of starting here and then going around and going around and going around and building and building and building. Corgi butts again, and then another little kitty peeking out. This one was an attempt to do some coloring with just purple and trying out some different techniques with the blanket stitch. I feel like maybe this one had too much going on it, but that might be because I got really frustrated trying to sew this yarn through the fabric. It didn't stitch very well, but again, some mountains. I get a lot of triangular pieces for some reason, and want to be able to use those up in whatever way I can. Some more honeycomb stitch and blanket stitch, and I was practicing my French knots, which I think I'm getting pretty good at, finally. I started embroidering probably as a teenager, and French knots, as with many of us, have been tricky for a very long time for me, but I think I finally figured it out, and I'll show you more of that in a little bit. Here again, just another little scrappy bit, this time focusing on blue tones, a little bit abstract, maybe a building, maybe some boomerangs, I don't know. And here's a little button, or maybe a moon that has a bird on it. Another K3N prompt. This was from Valentine's Day week, so we were asked to stitch a heart out of scrap fabrics. I really like how this one turned out. Again, a button. I think this one's mother of pearl in the middle. Another log cabin. I loved how this one turned out. Lots of lights and darks together. And then I think I'm going to try to stitch this onto this page, the other side of the chocolate wrapper. And as you can see, it's wider than that. And then I was going to stop here. I think this is the rest of the letter from the guy who sent me the warrant CD. P.S. I'm including the I'm including the deep purple CD as well. It is great. 3 exclamation points. So anyway, I just fastened these in here with a single stitch, which probably not the most durable of options, but I don't know how long this journal is going to last. Is it going to last forever? Time will tell. But I do have to say that I love how all of these trailing threads come out the top of the journal. I know it's messy, but I also love how it looks. Although I don't know where that one's coming from. Anyway, so let me know in the comments if you think that I can keep filling this. As I said, there's 2 signatures left in here. That's a lot of pages, but also I think this book is going to die if I keep trying to put things in it. So here is what I have done. This is an old bullet journal. I ripped out the pages at the beginning of the year and kept the cover. It's originally from Yop and Tom, and I followed a tutorial to put a couple of fabric signatures onto a sort of binding piece, a spine here, and then glue it into the book. But I've also decided to make a journal cover. Here's that piece here. Here's the journal cover. So this will be the front, this will be the back. I have to stitch it onto here with some end papers on the inside. And then once that's done, then I'll be able to stitch things into here. This is, I believe, just heavy linen. It's got these nice ruffly edges. Some bits starting to come off, but that's okay. And then there's one signature of this heavyweight linen, and then this lighter stuff in here. And I tried to, I only put 2 in here because I hoped that it wouldn't get quite so stuffed as the other one. And now I know how to do this, I can make more of these. But the next thing I need to do is stitch this onto the journal itself and get it all put together. So I will come back in a little bit when that is done and show you what the finished product looks like. Alright, I just sewed the cover on and everything is in place. Here's what everything looks like all put together. I decided to use some blue fabric for the inside to sort of go with this blue fabric that I have on the cover. Yeah, So I'm looking forward to stitching and adding items to this book. And I hope that I've inspired you a little bit along the way.